A quick S&P 500 update, and this is not financial advice, of course, but last time we spoke, I believe we were looking at the S&P 500 moving up towards the 403, and I pretty much said that the next day I wouldn't be surprised if we were going lower, and I don't know exactly when we recorded it and uploaded it, but I had mentioned that this 381 level was a really important point, and I could see us going below, but it was hard for me to see us going to the 369 level, and that's pretty much in fact what happened. We dipped below the 381, and we actually hit this 50-day moving average, and that I think is really important. If we just zoom in over here, you can see that a number of times before we've kind of hit this average and bounced up. And so the question is, of course, that happened again, and we came back down. Of course, when we bounced up, it was the 1st of March. That's when funds sometimes put their money to work, and they put it into, ETFs. People buy the 1st of the month, just averaging into the market. It's a strategy people have, and funds put their money in. And so it's very possible that this bump was just because of that, and we lost it in 2 days back to the 50-day moving average. Now, the bull case, of course, here is, hey, this is pretty impressive. This is showing, we're at the 50-day moving average. We don't really break below it too often. And so if you want a good deal on stocks, now would be the time to buy. If you're an investor for the long term and you think the market's going to go the long term, you know that we kind of are expecting a crash. We just don't know when. But if you are thinking there's a long term, most of the time we're above the 50-day moving average. You can see over here, we hit it and then it bounced up. Similar thing over here. Over here was the crash, so, we'll just ignore that because that's not necessarily going to follow technicals exactly. But you can see that it hardly has been below the 50-day moving average. It did happen a few times, where we crossed up and down. And I believe, if memory serves correctly, this was 337, right? If we look 337, that was before the market, and so 337 was around here, and it kind of was a little bit volatile going above and below this line, this 50-day moving average, until once again we got a trend working above. Once I guess everyone had accepted that we were going to be having a much better situation post-COVID, right? So if we look right over here, this is the top. This is the top right before the crash. You can see that there was a lot of movement around that. We weren't sure, I suppose, were we really going to move above that top from pre-COVID area time to post-COVID, and yeah, well, we decided we were. Lucky for us who are invested long. So, most of the time we're above this 50-day moving average, and so that's exactly what could happen if we're going to 403. This would be a great time to start moving in that direction. If we break below this moving average and below 381 tomorrow and move towards, it very likely could be towards 369. So the bull case, of course, is, hey, we're moving in the general direction still. This is not a problem. Yes, there was some volatility back and forth here, but it's not the most volatile the stock market has ever been, I don't think. It has been going on for a few days, sadly, but there has been times where we've had quite a bit of volatility. You can see over here, a lot of ping-ponging. Back over here, right after the crash, some ping-ponging, and yeah, we still kept going up. We would like to see this settle down and move a little bit better in a trend. In terms of the ADX and the DMI, we don't have a trend yet, right? The negative and the positive, the trend indicator, the red line is not between them. So that's pretty good. In terms of an oversold today, yes, we are below the dotted line. And yes, last time we were below the dotted line in a similar fashion, we broke in the positive direction afterwards. But there has been times where we've been below, further below, and in fact, we kept going down. And it wasn't until the second time where we got into this oversold situation where we actually broke up. Then again, over here, we had a much similar situation. We got this first bump, kept moving down, but the second bump in a similar area, we started moving up, and over here we got a bump down in the same general area, and we started buying up in this direction. So is it oversold? Yes, it is oversold. Is it too oversold? No, it's been more oversold in the past. So is this enough of an oversold condition to get us to, to get people to say, hey, I want to buy now, this is my opportunity? I don't know. That's a little bit hard for me to tell personally. But I do think that if we do have based off of all this bullish sentiment that I'm kind of expressing towards you, if we do have a dip down, I think there's a lot of arguments to say that it will continue moving up. If we have two dips down, another negative day below the, not just one day below the 50-day moving average, but two, that I think will be a much worse sign, meaning two closes, one close that's lower, and then one close that's even lower. That won't be good. We'll be at 369. The next stop will be, at least according to Fibonacci numbers, 358, but it could go lower just to the tops of these 2 points of resistance over here, getting down to 350, and then, the next stop is quite low, 323. It's not great. Interestingly enough, right, this 200-day moving average right now is around the tops of these peaks. So I don't know what to make of that. Is that a little bit ominous or not? Are we going to come all the way down here? I'm not sure. Me personally, if you look at the whole time, since we've kind of broken above the 200-day moving average, we really have hardly come close to it again. Right over here, you can see it was bouncing around, but nevertheless, since then we've been moving steadily away from it, which is pretty good, and we've been mostly staying above the 50-day moving average. The one time we really broke below the 50-day moving average, or 2 times I should say, was right at this level, just about 333, which was, if you look over here to this side of the chart, 330, 340, around there. That was the top of the market before the crash. And so I think that when we got around here, the 340 level, people weren't sure, is the stock market really going to go higher than it was before the crash? And so I think the 50-day moving average got tested quite a bit, and it broke below, but it kept going up, and obviously we're in the situation where we are now, and the question is, are we going to continue? So there's a lot of bull sentiment right now, I think. Yes, there are some fundamentals that are not favorable. For example, the yield going up, people being really nervous about interest rates, inflation, a lot of these different points, which are actually, very wise. If you've been listening to my videos, I'm pretty bearish. I think there'll be a crash. I don't know when. I'm only doing option trading for that reason right now, because I don't want to be in any stocks for the long period. It's a little bit riskier, I suppose, than just owning a stock. But at this time, with this much movement and this much uncertainty, I find it a little bit less risky. And that's just personal, not financial advice. But so right now, what's going to happen? Are we going to hit 369, bounce up? Are we going to break this 50-day moving average, bounce up? I don't know. It's really 50-50. I think there's definitely still a strong possibility that we'll move towards the 403. Just sadly, there's a little bit of a possibility now that we're at this 50-day moving average, if we don't hold it, that we will go down to this 369. It doesn't mean that we're going to crash just yet, but if we do move rapidly past it, then 360 will be the next stop, and that is not good, in my opinion. We'll have to do another video, I suppose, but that won't be a good sign. Now, in terms of Tesla, you can just ignore these triangles, I suppose. This is just me trying to follow consolidation and what happens. And in fact, at the point of the triangle, I had kind of bought a strangle, so I didn't care if Tesla shot back up over here or shot back down over here. The options would make money. And today I actually sold because March 19th over here, my options would expire worthless. If you know a lot about options, you'll know that the fact that I was able to make a profit and I didn't have much time left on my options, I might as well take it. There's a good chance that Tesla, for example, might move further down. Now, why am I talking about Tesla? Well, it's pretty important because last time we were here, we reached 611 in Tesla, so we could go that low again. And if we break 611, we're coming all the way down to 400. That's important because Tesla is part of the S&P 500. And I was looking at it because of my options today. And as you can see, it was pretty much a straight shot down. There were just times where it was going up, maybe people getting nervous in and out. I was pretty confident that it was going to keep going down. Why? Well, I was not certain, but when we were moving down, I had this feeling, especially when we reached here, we're for sure going to reach 381. And we moved up, and I thought, oh man, are we not? And then we moved down, and I thought, oh yeah, we for sure are. And then we started moving up pretty fast, and I thought, really, are we not going to hit that 381? That would be pretty surprising. We're so close to support. I think people, maybe they were buying and trying to force us not to reach that low point because lest we cross it. But of course we went down there, and so you can see S&P 500 was going up, and yet still Tesla during that time was pretty much selling in a general downward direction. And so I thought Tesla would continue to get pulled down by the S&P, or vice versa, the S&P would get pulled down by Tesla. But I thought that the S&P would move towards that support level, and that would pull down Tesla. And so it's a little bit of the chicken and the egg. Is Tesla pulling down the S&P, or is the S&P pulling down Tesla? And I think it's probably working both ways. And that's why it's really important over here. Because last time when it got to 611, it shot back up. If we look in a closer term, look, there's one red bar to 611. That's really when I should have sold some of my strangle from over here. I got a little bit greedy because I thought there was a chance it would go further down. I did sell. But I once again bought another strangle so it could go up or down. I would make money, and I sold for a profit this time. And, I didn't want to take any more risks. Nevertheless, my point is it reached 611 over here and shot right back up. And so, we're very close into that range where someone could put in a lot of buying power and shoot it back up. If Tesla shot back up, well, what would happen? Well, the S&P 500 itself would get a little bit of a boost from that. And if the S&P 500 gets a boost, that could signal to other people, and they'll start buying other stocks, not just Tesla, but all the stocks in the S&P 500 could get a little bit of a boost. Now, why might those people who own Tesla need to boost it? Well, because if we break this area of support right here, and there's not a lot of it at 620 or wherever the exact area of support might be, maybe it's a little bit lower, 593. If we break below that, we're going to come down to 400 pretty fast. That would just destroy the S&P 500, and that's what makes me a little bit nervous. I had told someone a long time ago, Tesla being part of the S&P 500, yes, it would help Tesla quite a bit because all these funds had to buy Tesla, but Tesla's overvalued. And when I say overvalued, I mean because it's priced in for the future. Now, you might think that's a great price, and it's in fact cheap. But my point is, people might get nervous about this stock, and so they might sell it, and that could hurt the S&P 500, or vice versa. I had told them the S&P 500 might go down, and so the people who own Tesla will get all these people selling the S&P 500. They'll also be selling Tesla, and they won't be with strong conviction. And so people who hold Tesla might get nervous, and they might sell. It might set off this kind of chain reaction. And I'm hoping that's not what's going to happen. I'm really hoping that Tesla bounces up. I'm biased. I already sold my puts anyway, but there is a chance it'll go down. Hopefully, once it gets to 611, it'll shoot back up, of course. Nevertheless, that would be really helpful for the S&P 500 if Tesla moves up. If Tesla keeps moving down, it'll just be disastrous. Now, similar thing with Amazon. Amazon reported great earnings over here. Look, it beat it by 100% surprise. They reported 14. They were estimated at 7. That's amazing. And yet it's gone down. Well, that might have to do with Jeff Bezos stepping down. Will he come back to boost the stock price? I have no idea. Sadly, there's a little bit of a negative trend. Luckily, it's a little bit oversold over here. So you can see that other times where it's gone even much less, it's bounced back shortly after. And so that's what maybe we'll see from Amazon. I have a strangle. You can kind of see my triangle lines here. So I have a strangle, so it doesn't matter if it goes further down or further up. Me personally, I'd just rather go further up because I want the S&P 500. I want all the people's retirements to make money. I'd prefer that. Also, I have some long positions, but, if I can make money either way, well, it'd be nicer if people's retirements were intact. So, these are two stocks, for example, and I'll even mention a third, Nvidia. Nvidia, they were estimated to be at 281, and their earnings was 231, and so they got sold off. But at the end of the day, look at their previous earnings. Their previous earnings were 212. Their earnings before that, $1. So they have been trending upwards in terms of their earnings, and yet their stock has kind of been stagnant around this 512 area. This triangle that you see me drawing over here. And so it's prime, and it's below the 50-day moving average as well, of course, and moving pretty close to the 200-day moving average. It's pretty prime for this to move up as well. Will it move up? I don't know. My only point is there's a lot of stocks in the S&P 500 that I think are possibly undervalued, and those people who want to see those stocks succeed and really believe in these types of stocks will in fact see these as buying opportunities. And so this is a bull case to 403. That being said, we're at 381. We've seen quite a bit of volatility, not the most volatility there's ever been, in the past year in the stock market, besides the crash, of course. Right after the crash, there was quite a bit of volatility. You can see over here, there was quite a bit of volatility, quite a bit of movement, fast-paced movement over here. There's some fast-paced movement. It's quite a few days in a row. And I think that the market was pretty much trading sideways. It wasn't really sure. And I think it's still not sure. We're just going to have to see who is going to take over. The people who are scared about inflation, about the yield, about, the government moving forward, opening up. Are people really going to have jobs, money, all these different things? Or are we going to see the bull case, which says, we're doing better. We're more of an internet economy, a lot more efficient. I have no idea. And that's kind of how I'm going to have to end this video. I'm really 50-50. I have no idea. Yes, there's a lot of bull sentiment that I could express that it says that this is going to 403. And yet, that if you've been watching enough of my videos, I think there's going to be a crash. That's why I'm in options. And so I don't know what's going to happen. It's very possible that we move at the very least to 369. The 50-day moving average is pretty nice. That there's this area of support, but if we cross it at this point, we've gotten pretty close. If we cross it, well, that's not a good sign, especially if we end 2 days, we have a confirming day, so we end below it, and then the next day we end below that close. That's going to be, to me, a really bad sign. That'll make me extremely nervous. Right now, I'm not so nervous. I could see it going either way. You let me know what you think is going to happen. I could really see things opening up in the positive tomorrow. Now, by the way, I do know that after hours we've gone quite below our 381 level, but after hours it's a little bit tricky. Look over here, we went below this 381 level, and even in pre-market it bounced right back up and just jumped to 386 at opening. And it's not like we never passed the 381. You can see over here we passed the 381 and quickly bounced right up in the positive direction. So, I'm not really entirely sure. I have a little bit more leaning towards the long position right now. Why? Well, because there's a general trend in the upward direction. We haven't broken that 50-day moving average. So it's not enough for me, I suppose, to say that we're in a crash. And, like I said, there's all these quote-unquote buying opportunities that I'm kind of seeing and that I'd like to hopefully continue to see. That would be really nice. And, I mean, you let me know because I'm really a little bit at loss in terms of the technicals. Right now, leaning towards it going up, but like I said, it's very, very feasible and very possible that everyone is shooken enough that it'll bounce down to 369. I think after that, I would really hope that it moves up. Of course, if we have 2 days, like I said, where one day closes below the 50-day moving average, and then we have another day below it, even further below it, I should say. That to me will show that there really is now a really strong trend, I think, and I would be surprised if this red line moves between the negative and positive indicator, and that will be to me a really bad sign. I would expect it to go even lower unless it can really show me a correction. So like I said, after 369, you should expect 352. Will it go that low? Will it go to 360, 352? Yeah, I think it's around 352 are the tops of these peaks, somewhere around here. It's hard to get it exactly, to the exact number, but that would kind of be, if we get it at 369 and it doesn't bounce, that's the next stop, and it's ominously very close to that 200-day moving average, and so we could get down there and still move up. Yes, it's possible. We'll have to do a recap because it's harder to see it moving up from so low. And if we do really get to this 403, which might be a little bit of a long shot, it's hard for me right now to kind of see the stock market moving even further up, though. And so maybe the best situation is for it to just slowly meander take a long time to get to that 403, if only because, the whole Main Street and all the businesses will be able to open up and really prove that the stock market is not overvaluing things, that price and earnings are really moving up, people are really going back to work, people are really doing things. That would be a really great thing to happen. Right now, we've moved so fast in the positive direction, in my opinion, that it's hard to really give a lot of value to these valuations, which is why I'm not investing right now for the long term. right? I'm really trying to just use options because I have no idea how these prices are happening. I just know that there's a trend right now. And right now I'm going to respect the trend, but we are in serious, serious danger here of breaking that trend, in my opinion. So you let me know what's going to happen. Sorry about rambling on, and thanks for watching. Click subscribe if you'd like to hear more of this. And I was going to do a 10K on Tesla, and I still will after I go through it, but it does look like quite a bit of downward movement has kind of ruined, it's kind of, I was hoping to get a general idea of which way the stock was going to go. It doesn't look great at the moment. But anyway, hopefully I'll get through with that 10K and be able to upload that soon. But I've just been watching, my options and all the things happening, and, work and everything. It's been hard to post anything. So hopefully you enjoy these quick updates. Not edited nearly as much, but hopefully you appreciate it. Thanks for watching.